for me to play a reporter and just have some fun, ask some questions that maybe they don't ask on a TV show. So what better place than here on Comp Plus to have a little fun with some other drivers. One of my old pals, Donny Couch. There's so many questions I want to ask you.
Boy.
And
go easy on me, Caps.
Yeah, like you do to me.
I know. I forgot last time I might have overstepped my boundaries.
No, listen, where do I start with you? You know, I see you mostly at the nostalgia races. Lately, I've been seeing you at our races, the Mellow Yellow races. What are you just out hanging out, helping somebody?
I'm hanging out with Paul Lee and my good friend Jim O, and just being a part of that team and being out there and seeing everybody. It's been a long time since I've been to the big show. It's changed quite a bit, and just trying to get up to speed with everything. It's changed quite a bit.
You know, you hang out with Pat Galvin a lot, and my crew chief, Ron Tobler, obviously there's a lot of history, a lot of stories going back to the old days, and I love your posts, especially on Facebook, with some of the old Tom McEwen, not just races, but how early on, I know your dad was involved in racing, that's how you got involved, but what was it like the first time you got to work on Mongoose's car?
I was 12 years old, right? Got to work on the Hot Wheels car and went to Lions Drag Strip for the last drag race, and we won. And then after that, my parents let me go on tour with Tom all summer if I got good grades in school and I didn't get in any trouble. So I was on tour for 3 months out of the year. After the U.S. Nationals, had to come back to school.
And what year is this?
Oh, man, I don't know. I was 12, so, you know.
So what, it was this early 70s? So it was the first year of the Hot Wheels?
70s, yeah, with the Hot Wheels deal, so.
So Snake, I mean, you were touring, doing match racing in between, right, in summertime?
Yeah, we did like 2 or 3 races a week in those cars back then, and traveling all over in the Hot Wheels trucks, and just having a good time, kind of pioneering funny car racing back then.
So it was the ramp truck, one of the ramp trucks that I see now?
Oh, yeah, it was a ramp truck, and I drove that truck when I was 14 and got pulled over by the Ohio State Trooper, and McEwen's mechanics and Bob Brandt got in trouble for letting me drive. They said, if Couch drives again, you guys are fired. So
Now, obviously, I grew up playing with the Hot Wheels cars. You're out working on the car. Give me a story that you haven't told. Now, it doesn't have to be something that's not politically correct, but give me a story. How often did they talk between match races? Was there a deal that certain times one had to win over the other between Snake and Mongoose?
No, Snake always wanted to win, so he was never going to give up that. You know that. You drove for him, and you're a part of that team, but Snake was a fierce competitor. There was never anything set in stone, but, you know, McEwen did good. We beat the Snake. We beat a lot of people, won the Super Nationals and the big PRO race at Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was like $80,000 to win back in '72. That was incredible, you know.
That's more than we get right now.
I know. But all the funny cars got the semifinals. They split the money. So, you know, they made more money than they ever had, splitting it in the quarterfinals. So, you know, a lot of things went on going down the road and fights, and, you know, then I went to work for Billy Meyer, and that got real interesting, and just it's been a good life. And I have a lot of stories. Most people won't even believe them.
I do, because I've heard them from you and other people. So Billy Meyer, I know he started when he was 16. Were you around those early days?
Yeah, I was around the early days, right up to where we had the first 18-wheeler out there, and NHRA kept telling us, get that cattle truck out of here. We don't want it in the pits.
It was a furniture truck, right?
Yeah, well, no. That trailer belonged to Kawasaki for their jet skis. We found it off the 605 freeway in Southern California, bought the trailer for $6,500, had cabinets, generator, liftgate, air compressor, and we painted it and thought we were $1 million, right? And his uncle gave him an old Kenworth cab over, had 1 million miles on it, and it broke down all the time, and it was hard to drive, and slack in the steering, and we went down the road with no permits, no license, and just, I don't know how we buffaloed our way across the scales, but we did.
I see pictures of Billy Meyer back then, and you're going to induct him into the Hall of Fame in Gainesville, which is pretty cool, right?
It was quite an honor. He asked me to do that, and, you know, I've been thinking all the old stories with Billy, and it's hard to believe that we had all these incidents and things go on. Him crashing into a lake and him setting it on fire in Montreal, got burnt pretty good. And finally, Coletta flew us down to Ann Arbor Burn Center because you know how those French Canadians, they don't like us, right? So.
Now, this is a story I used to hear sitting around having a beer at the end of the day in Don Prudhomme's pit area. And the story, it's got to be true, but Billy said he was burned so bad that you guys were in the plane, and this is one of the early Connie Coletta stories I heard, that back then Connie had an oven timer, those little white ones, and he'd get up to wherever he was going, he'd turn the timer on and go to sleep, leave it on autopilot. And then when the timer went off, ding, he'd wake up, turn the plane, and whatever direction, and set the timer again. Is that really true?
It's very true. And one time he did that, and he was by himself, and was going to the eastern seaboard, set his alarm, laid down, had it on autopilot, didn't hear the alarm, woke up. He was over the Atlantic and barely made it back with enough fuel to land the plane. And I think he got in a little bit of trouble for that, but there were some crazy stories with Connie Coletta, Shirley Muldowney back in the day, them fighting and carrying on. Of course, Tobler was part of that deal, your crew chief, and it's hard to believe we lived through all that and can still talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I love getting you and Waterbed, and especially the Dallas race up there in that suite of Billy Myers. You guys, there's so many good stories that go around, and it's still neat to come out when I go to the March meet or the reunion to see all those old guys come out. And when I first started myself in this reunion stuff or the nostalgia scene, you were the dude. I mean, you had the funny car. What was it called? The funny car?
The Warrior funny car.
Warrior funny car. And
Gary Turner's car. So.
And then, we had maybe 7, 8 cars in the country, and then to watch it flourish and grow, to come to the March meet, hear you in the tower. Are you happy with where nostalgia scene is right now with the Heritage Series?
I am. It seems to be growing and popular. Look how many people are here. It's like a sold-out crowd and all kind of cars and great competition. I'm actually building the Warrior funny car back. We got a brand new car, and I want to be involved in it again so much that we have a car that's probably a month away from being ran. We tried to get it here, but just couldn't get enough parts, man. There's all the vendors are out of parts, and they can't make them fast enough for everybody. But
I want to get your opinion on a couple things. Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble, but some of these pro mod bodies, these newer style bodies, it rubs me a little wrong that it got out of hand. I don't know who was involved in letting the series sort of get out of hand, but I'm so adamant about trying to keep this a nostalgia scene. And I love what Blake and the Bowsers have done with, the 590 class. Yeah. And the fuel alters, of course, I love. But I'd love to see all these bodies have some type of a thing where you can't let it look like a pro mod. I mean, what do you think? Is your new body like that? Does it look like that?
Unfortunately, it does, and I feel the same way about it that you do. But Steve had already bought the car, and it was complete. And, it is what it is. I don't like it. I want the sport to stay with the Plymouth Arrows and the Challengers and the Barracudas. But, there's some changes being made, and I don't know if people in the stands really recognize what's going on with these bodies. But I know we do because we're passionate about it. But I don't know. For now, we're going to have to let it go, but I think it got out of hand. Yeah,
I hate that it's getting priced and it's just people having to park their cars because they can't run them. And same thing happened in our sport where we're at with the Mellow Yellow Series.
Tough out there, and Winter Nationals, they only had 14 dragsters, and funny cars are right there at their class limit. So I don't know. I guess the economy's supposed to be good. Make America great again, right?
And it is. It's getting better. But, we had 40 nostalgia funny cars 5 or 6 years ago when I was out here racing with you.
Yeah. I don't know. Guys have dropped out. A lot of guys dropped out and started building the fuel altereds when the Bowsers put this class together. And look how much fun you're having. Yeah. And you got with a great team. And, God, it's really exciting to see the fuel altereds. I'm a funny car guy, but I love when these cars come up now.
Yeah, me too. Some of them go pretty straight, which is scary.
Well, not the ones you drive.
That's what Tolbert says all the time. All right, so what else do I want to ask Donny Couch?
Ask him to do his Prudhomme impersonation.
Yeah. I know you and when I drove for him, you always did the Don Prudhomme impersonation. And I do things, my wife she laughs at me because I'll move my pants up the way that he always did it.
Hey, what is that? What are you doing?
Now, I know here at Bakersfield you did that a few years ago, and he kind of got mad at you, right?
Well, He didn't get mad. He kind of went with it. He kept fumbling. I tell him, this Don Perdome, you're watching Speed Scene Live, and he kept fumbling with it. And he goes, I'm not doing it. I said, no, you're doing it. Do it just like this.
Hey, what's happening? I'm the Snake, and you're watching Speed Scene Live. I ain't shitting you.
And then he just looks at me, and he goes, that's a take.
I ain't shitting you.
Oh, that's so good.
Fun with him. But you know what? We couldn't have done that early on. And now that he's retired, he's having a good time. And he likes hanging out with all of us, going to concerts and just having parties and stuff. So it's a little different from when we grew up with him.
Now he's got an RV. He used to give me crap all the time. Why would you buy an RV? Now he's got an RV. He's got an off-road vehicle. He's so much more relaxed. It's really good to see.
Yeah, he's racing in the desert in Mexico and all over and just having a good time. And
good for him.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see him happy and healthy and going to the NASCAR races and now involved with John Force. Imagine that.
I still can't.
No, I can't either. Like we told him at, I think it was Donor's funeral, be careful what you say. Force is signing your paycheck. Imagine that.
Imagine that. All right, there you go. It's Donny Couch. Pull his name up on the internet. You'll find all kinds of stories. Some true, some not. But thank you.
Okay, man. Well, thanks to Competition Plus. They do a great job. And Ron, it's great seeing you out here at the March meet and driving a fuel altered.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
I got a challenge for you. Can you do You're Watching the Ron Katz Experience in Perdome?
Yeah, there you go.
We in your way? Almost done. Here it goes. If you were really in our way, we would edit you guys out.
Hey, what's happening? I'm Don Perdome, and you're watching the Ron Capps Experience. I ain't shitting you.